He's working so hard. He is making such an effort in order that you should be standing before him as a people. That's what Rashi says. In order that you should be standing before him as his people. So, question is this. Rashi, whenever he says something, he's trying to add something, trying to explain something. Here, the verse seems to be very straightforward. Hashem is making this covenant in order that we should be his people. That's the covenant. The covenant is, he's making a covenant with us. We are becoming his people. What is Rashi adding? What's bothering Rashi that causes Rashi to comment anything? And what is he adding with his comment? So other commentaries look at Rashi and they say this. The purpose of the covenant was not to make us a people. The purpose of the covenant was in order that we should fear Hashem and fulfill his Torah. The covenant was about keeping the mitzvahs. And the question, therefore, is why does it say Hashem has made of this covenant to make us his people, which seems to be something else, not about the mitzvahs? In other words, in order to make us his people, the Torah says, he made the covenant. And that's the language of the Torah. In order to I'm making this covenant with you, so you should be my people. That's what the verse is saying. So the commentaries say that although that's what the simple translation of the verse is saying, however, that's not really what it means. Hashem has a connection with the Jewish people in a way that he cannot let go of them. The covenant is in a way that he'll never switch us with another nation. So therefore, Hashem made a covenant with us to keep the mitzvahs, and therefore he won't have to distance us from him. He swore to our forefathers he'll always be with us. He can't switch us with another nation. So because he swore to us that he's going to always be with us, therefore he made a covenant with us that will keep his mitzvahs, so there's no reason for us to for him to want to exchange us for another nation. So although the language of the Torah is Hashem is making this covenant for us to be his people, it's more about why he cares to make a covenant with us. The covenant he's making with us is about the mitzvahs. But the reason why he cares about the covenant is what Rashi is addressing. He's making this covenant about the mitzvahs because he has this connection with us that he cannot let go of. And therefore, he wants to make sure that we will keep the mitzvahs. The covenant is about the performance of the mitzvahs, which is important because we're his people anyways. So because he's stuck with us, he wants to make sure that we will be observing his mitzvahs as we should. So the verse is saying Hashem has made this covenant with us to be his people. It's not to be his people. It's about the covenant is that we should keep the mitzvahs. But the reason why he cares so much to make a covenant with us about the mitzvahs is because he has this oath to our forefathers that he'll never let go of us. So the question though is it's in the end is they're connected to each other. Because we're his people, therefore he wants us to keep his mitzvahs. It's really about us being his people. So instead of extrapolating and extricating the verse from its simple meaning and saying that it's referring to something else and then trying to explain it, it would be much more straightforward to say that the verse is talking about us being his people, and that's why he made a covenant with us. So, and if that's what Rashi meant, if Rashi meant that he's trying to explain something else, that the word Laman is saying a reason for this covenant, then Rashi should have only addressed the words Laman, the reason for, in his heading. Rashi puts all 4 words in his heading. Laman Hakim, 5 words. Laman Hakim Ischa Hayom Leilam. 6 words rather. He puts all 6 words in his title, and So that means he's not just trying to explain the reason why he made the covenant, but he's saying something about the covenant itself. So if you haven't been able to follow what I'm saying till now, let me start over and say something new, so that you're able to follow without this whole long, complicated preamble. The question is this: Hashem made a covenant with us at Mount Sinai, and therefore the question is, what does it mean in this week's Torah portion? Hashem is making a covenant with us again. He already made a covenant with us at Mount Sinai. We had this covenant with Hashem. So that's what Rashi is disturbed by. It says in the Torah portion, I'm making a covenant with you to be my people. Aren't we already his people? So because that's Rashi's question, therefore the words of Rashi, which seem very similar to the language of the verse, are actually not the same as the language of the verse, with a slightly different nuance, and which answers this question. The verse says, I'm making this covenant with you, and Laman Hakim is to raise you up to be my people, to make you my people. Rashi changes those words. And Rashi says it's not about raising us up to be his people. Rashi says Kayam. Kayam means that we should consistently stay his people. Not, the verse says, Laman Hakim is we should be for him a people. Rashi takes out the word for him, and Rashi says we should be in front of him. We should be in front of him. So Rashi is not saying that we should be his. Rashi is changing that and saying the verse is saying that we should be in front of him. So Rashi is conveying something completely different in his commentary here than the simple language of the Torah. The simple language of the Torah is Hashem saying, I'm making you my nation. I'm making this covenant, you should be my people. The problem with that is we're already his people. He took us out of Egypt. He brought us to Mount Sinai. We already have a covenant with him. He already made a covenant long ago. So what's happening here is there's a new covenant. Something is being added here that wasn't here before. There is a discussion in this past Torah portion about the covenant as well. In this past Torah portion, Hashem says to us today, Hayom Hazen Yeslam, today you've become a people. And Rashi finds an issue with that. Rashi doesn't take that and just leave that without a comment. Rashi says, what do you mean today we became a people? And Rashi has to explain, as we were discussing last week, that Moshe Rabbeinu gave a Torah to the tribe of Levi, and all other tribes, the Jewish people, were jealous. Why does Moshe give a Torah only to his own tribe, the tribe of Levi? Why can't we all have a Torah? And Moshe was happy with their being bothered by this, and therefore Moshe wrote a Torah for every single one of the tribes. So Moshe said, because you asked for your own Torah, because I see you care and that you want to be connected to Hashem and you want the Torah, that I should write you a Torah too, Moshe says, now you have become a people in the sense that now I see that you've become a different kind of people. You care about connection to Hashem. So although the language of the Torah is now you've become a people, Rashi says it doesn't mean that, because we know the Jewish people are people and Mount Sinai. Similar thing. In last week's Torah portion, it says Hashem is giving us the Torah and the mitzvahs, and he says, Hayom, yeah. It says in the Torah that Hayom Hazeh Mitzavacha. Today Hashem is commanding you. Question there is also, what does it mean Hashem is commanding us today? Hashem commanded us in Mount Sinai. So Rashi comes there again, and he says, what this means is that Hashem wants us to keep Torah mitzvahs as if it's brand new, as if he just gave it. It doesn't mean that Hashem is now initiating a new commandment that he's never commanded us before, but rather Hashem is telling us that I want you to keep my mitzvahs as if it's something brand new that you never got before. It's actually was given before, but you should experience it as something new. Every day should be nechot, should be in your eyes, kachadoshim, like it's new, or chadoshim mamish, as the Rebbe emphasizes, should be really new to you. So the language of the Torah that you've been chosen by Hashem today, you've been Hashem has Hashem Amir Chayom. Also in last week's Torah portion is in this same context of Hashem wants us to have a fresh relationship with him every single day. So what is happening in this week's Torah portion? What's going on here? Why is Rashi's commenting again? Because for the same reason, it can't be. He's doing a covenant with us today. We already have a covenant. So what is happening here? So Rashi says there's something new. There's a covenant that Hashem has with us, that we are his people, that we belong to him. But then there is a different kind of covenant that ensures that we, on our own, will not separate from him, that we will maintain our faithfulness to him, that Hashem bonds with us in a way that we won't discard our relationship. Hashem connects with us so deeply that leaves this impression on us that we will never want to leave this connection with him. That's the covenant of the Torah portion. It's not about the ownership of Hashem over the Jewish people, the rights Hashem has over the Jewish people, the promise of the covenant that Hashem promised to us, or our commitment that we're promised that we have to keep the covenant, we're supposed to keep the covenant. Rather, this is more about how we can keep the covenant, how we will keep the covenant. And that's why Rashi, fascinatingly, he changes the words of the Torah in his comment slightly to give a whole different meaning to the words. He says to make us his people before him, that we should stay as his people before him. He doesn't say, as the language of the Torah simply is, so we should become his people. Rather, Rashi says that we should remain his people before him. We shouldn't distance ourselves. We shouldn't go away from him. What causes us to make mistakes and to veer away from his commandments? We feel distant. So Hashem made this unique kind of connection with us in this week's Torah portion that should be enduring, that should affect us. That's why, fascinating, only in this covenant does the Torah emphasize explicitly that this is not just for that generation, but it's for all generations. And Mount Sinai, all generations were there too. But the Torah emphasizes that those who are here today, those who are here today, and those who are not here today. The Torah is clearly addressing a future generation that may feel distance from Hashem and his covenant, not be interested. Jewish people are now entering Israel. They're leaving the clouds. They're going to a whole new environment. And therefore, Hashem is kol kach nichlas etrech. Hashem makes an extra effort to bond with us. As Rashi says, to pass through a covenant. Rashi comments that this is something unique. It's happening here. That didn't happen before. It's a different kind of covenant. Rashi says when people make a covenant with each other, they would make two different walls on both sides, and they would walk through those walls to say that we are connected to each other. So Hashem did something similar to what he did with Avram Avinu when he made the covenant with him, where the calf was cut in half, and Hashem passed through, so to speak, the calf to highlight that he and Avram are bound together forever. In a similar way, Hashem made the same covenant with the Jewish people. He passed through something, whatever that means, to be bound with us. Something spiritual happened here that made a lasting impression on us, that we on our own will always feel close to him and never veer from our relationship with him. It's not about our obligation. It's not about who we belong to. It's not about the commitment. It's about a connection that we have that's experientially far more resounding within us, that will cause us to never want to go away from it. That's what's happening in the Torah. It's about us. It's about how we are bound with Hashem, not how he is bound with us, as much as how we are bound with him, as much as we will be in front of him, that we'll feel close to him, and therefore we will never leave him. That's what Rashi is saying here. That's what the news is in this Torah portion. So this is very connected with this time that we're in now. The Alter Rebbe says that the covenant that was made with the Jewish people and Hashem, in the opening verse, you are standing here today, all of you, to make a covenant with Hashem. What day was this that Hashem made this covenant with us? It was the day of Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, and every year on Rosh Hashanah, Hayam El Iskarim and Asim, every day on Rosh Hashanah, these days are remembered and they happen again. Every day there's a new covenant that we make with Hashem, which again, it's about our bond with Hashem, our experience, our devotion, our feelings. our lasting and deep commitment to Him not to let go. That's what happens on Rosh Hashanah. It's something about us being lefanav, us being in front of Him, not becoming distant, staying close to Him. So this explains the language of the Torah to be an to be a people. The word people, has two translations. In Tanya, the Alter explains that the word means varim, zarim, nifradim, rechokim, imal samelch. An a people, means people who are strange, distant, and they're not like the king. They are separate from the king. They're not the king. They are in a situation where they are feel a disconnect from the king. That's what the word means in some places in the Torah. But the word also means which means with the king. So in Torah, or in Likutei Torah, in this week's Torah portion, the Alter Rebbe explains that the word here means close to. It doesn't mean as it does elsewhere, separate and distance. Rather, the word means that we're with Him and we're close to Him. That's what the emphasis is in the word here. That we're close to Hashem. So the day of Rosh Hashanah, which now that we know that this verse is referring to Rosh Hashanah, this will help us understand something else. The Rashi is also called the wine of the Torah. I mean, all the simple explanations Rashi gives also have deep spiritual significance. So now that we know that the Alter Rebbe says that this verse is referring to Rosh Hashanah, we'll also be able to see how this verse, how the way Rashi explains it, has some message for us about Rosh Hashanah. In our prayers in Rosh Hashanah, we say, Zeh hayom tchilas maasecha. This is the day of the beginning of your works. Zikaron leim rishon. It's a commemoration of day one. So Chassidic explains that those two phrases are referring to two different things. This is the day of the beginning of your works, refers to day 6 of creation. Day 6 of creation, the day that God created man. And a commemoration for day 1 refers to the actual first day of creation, which was on the 25th of Elul. That was the first day of creation. And Rosh Hashanah is connected both with the creation of man and with the day 1 of creation. What is the difference between those two events, and what is the relationship between Rosh Hashanah and these two events? When God created the world, the Torah says it was created on the 25th of Elul. The number 25 is significant because 25 is numerically equivalent to the word koi. Koi means so. It is something like this. It's not this exactly, but it's something similar to this. That's what the word ko means. That's why all the prophets, when they gave prophecy, they said, Ko Amar Hashem. Something similar to this is what Hashem said. It wasn't exactly the word of Hashem. Didn't have a clear vision like Moshe Rabbeinu. When he gave prophecy, he said, this is the word of Hashem. It was very vivid, very clear. But all other prophets, their prophecy was, it's something like this. It wasn't so vivid. It wasn't so clear. So Moshe Rabbeinu, so Hashem tells us that the day 1 of creation, the godly revelation that was existent in the entire world wasn't so vivid, wasn't so clear, wasn't so obvious, wasn't so overt, wasn't so tangible. When God created man, the function of man is to bring into the world to reveal godliness in a vivid way. That's a game changer that happened when God created man, that godliness now became something that's vivid and clear and open. And that's what happens again in Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a renewal of this achievement of mankind. The purpose of mankind is to bring Mashiach, so that Hashem's presence should be vividly revealed in the world in a tangible way forever. Rosh Hashanah is a taste of the coming of Mashiach, when Hashem's presence will be vividly revealed through the efforts of man. But not only is Rosh Hashanah connected to the coming of Mashiach and this vivid revelation, Rosh Hashanah is also a commemoration of day 1. Why does Rosh Hashanah commemorate day 1? It seems Rosh Hashanah has a lot more going for it than just being a commemoration day 1. Day 1 is, after all, just It's just a something similar. It's a more of a translucent revelation, if you will. So why is Rosh Hashanah leaning on its value of being a commemoration of the first day 1 of creation? So the answer is that Rosh Hashanah, after Hashem created the world is no longer after creation as it was before creation. Before creation, it says there was Allah's man obey, which means that Hashem's decision to create the world was because of the satisfaction he envisioned that he would have by us performing his mitzvahs. So it was because of his kindness, because of his he made the first move because of something that would happen later. However, today, creation is completely dependent on our service of Hashem. It's our mitzvahs, our Torah is what actually changes and what actually creates the decision of Hashem for the new year, what kind of world there will be. The first day of creation was because of Hashem's kindness before there was any people to do his mitzvahs. Hashem just kindly gave us credit for that, so to speak, originally. But every year, Rosh Hashanah, the creation has to do more with the actual mitzvahs that are performed. Our activity, our mitzvahs, is not only does it bring this new revelation of Zeh, this vivid revelation of godliness, but it also affects the entire world. It also affects the region of the world, which is only in the level of Ko, which only has this more of this lesser than a revelation. Our mitzvahs affect the entire world, not just the Jewish people, not just does it bring us face to face with this higher kind of godly revelation that's called Zed. This is a God, this is Hashem, but it also brings Hashem's light into the world around us, into the world which was created on the 25th of Elul, into a realm which doesn't have that kind of revelation. In other words, Zeh goes into Koi. What happens when the God creates man and every year Rosh Hashanah is not only does this affect the Jewish people, but it also affects the entire world at a realm which doesn't have that kind of revelation. It also brings whatever was originally on the 25th of Elul back. It doesn't only bring something new, it also brings back whatever was before. And this is important, as Maimonides says, a wise man isn't only recognized in his wisdom. You could tell who a wise man is by the way he eats, by the way he drinks, by the way he sleeps. His wisdom is recognizable, is discernible in all of his activities. And so too, the achievement of the Jewish people in Rosh Hashanah is not only in regards to what they experience, their revelation, but also their mitzvahs affect and enhance and elevate the entire world. So this explains the two phrases, the two covenants, rather, that Hashem made with the Jewish people. There's a covenant Hashem made with us at Mount Sinai. And there's a covenant Hashem made with us in Parshat Nitzavim and every year on Rosh Hashanah. The covenant Hashem made with us at Mount Sinai, that covenant is about the soul. That covenant is about the Zeh. That covenant is about the vivid revelation of godliness. But then there is another covenant, as Rashi says, Heikim Oischem, what's the words of Rashi? Hashem has brought you before him to be his people. It's not only about your obligation, your commitment, because Hashem chose you, but it's about you as a human being feeling lefana, feeling in front of him. It's also addressing the extremities of ourselves which don't feel in front of him. That Mount Sinai is about the soul, but this is about our body. This is about our humanness. This is about our experience. This is about our own decisions that we're making on a regular Wednesday afternoon. Not about our Yom Kippur moments. Not about our moments when we're feeling this intense judgment upon us. The covenant that Hashem makes with us every year Rosh Hashanah is about our decision that we want to be close to Hashem, taking consideration all of the various challenges that we will have throughout the year. We maintain this bond and this covenant with Hashem that we'll always be close to you. It's something that we have made, taking into consideration our experience. It's about our bodies. It's not about our souls. At Mount Sinai, Hashem made a covenant with our souls. We have to. We should. And our souls accept it, and our souls are good with that. But then there's another covenant, Rosh Hashanah, which is about our experience, about our bodies, about us feeling close to Hashem on a Wednesday afternoon. It's like how Maimonides says, when you pray, you have to have your eyes in heaven, and you have to have your heart in heaven, your eyes on the ground. In other words, it shouldn't just be about something that is an experience you're having right now. You also think about your ground, think about your earth, think about the lower parts of yourself, think about where you'll be after your prayers. So this is the meaning of Hashem's covenant with us in this week's Torah portion. As for those who are here now, those who are not here now. It's about what's going to happen later. It's what's going to happen after. It's about the part of you which is only the part of you which is not your wisdom, as Maimonides says, but you're eating, you're drinking, you're sleeping, your body, your humans. That's what the covenant of Rosh Hashanah is about. And this is also why the Gos Maimonides says that the main judgment of Rosh Hashanah is not a spiritual judgment. We do say in the Kiddush, and we say in their prayers, it is a law for Israel. It is a judgment for the God of Yaakov. And this is interpreted to mean that Rosh Hashanah is not just a choik, not just choik means, as Eov said, not just a decision about our material lives, but it's also a mishpah Yaakov. It's a judgment also about our spiritual lives, how much godliness, how much spirituality we'll have throughout the year. Mishpah, there's a judgment on Yaakov, how much godliness Yaakov, the Jewish people, will experience. So there's a judgment about both the spiritual and the physical of the Jewish people. However, the Gos Maimonides says that the main judgment of Rosh Hashanah is about our physical lives. And this is because, again, the covenant also is about our humanness, about us ourselves deciding to want to be close to Hashem. And therefore, the blessing of Rosh Hashanah, not just about our neshamas, but also about our physical lives. We're blessed to have a Shana Tei Masuka, a good, sweet year, and Shetaka be a year of bracha and simcha and atzlacha. And even before the coming of the year, we should see already the goodness and sweetness of this year manifest today with the coming Mashiach.